special board meeting to order at 6:03. And this is a special board meeting, and I wanted to thank everyone for coming this evening, and also thank you all for your support for the last 2 years for our district. It's been a challenging time, and I know no one signed up for these last 2 years. We appreciate you coming to us with your questions and understanding the process. It's difficult, and there's a lot of agencies that are involved, and so I just want to thank everyone for that. And also just to remind, we've never had a problem at our meetings, but we want to make sure that, this can be a hot topic, and we want everyone to have respect for the speakers and have some civility and be kind. So I'm hoping that we will continue our respectful and productive meetings. So with that, I will also read our vision and mission for our district. It's every student receives engaging and challenging learning experiences to reach their greatest potential and thrive in a diverse global society. And our mission is to deliver exceptional, engaging, equitable, and collaborative learning opportunities for all students. And since we have kind of a hybrid meeting, the in-person disclosure.
Okay. Nate, could you raise Diana's mic, please? And Diana, can you put your mic closer to your mouth, please? You might need to wheel it around the other side of your...
Well, it's pretty close. Normally
Okay.
I don't have to have it this close. Are we?
You're also sitting behind the speaker, so you may want to move and to be in front of the speaker, whoever needed help hearing.
It is.
The speaker's on the floor.
Yeah, and it is kind of, it's quieter this evening, because I usually hear an echo.
Okay.
So I hope everyone can hear me now. So individuals may address the board on agenda items, which there's only one item for this special meeting tonight, during the public comment. And if you're considering to speak, please fill out a speaker form. It'll provide us with information to know how many want to speak this evening. And Renee can help with that up at the front. Public comments are limited normally to 3 minutes per individual. Speakers will be chosen in random order, and then each person may only speak once for the topic and be required to address the board from the podium. And we're going to need to address that because we do have quite a bit of public comment from email, and so we'll need to decide how long we'll allow public comment as a board. So public comment cannot be acted upon or discussed by the board unless placed on an agenda at a subsequent meeting in accordance with the Brown Act. The board may request staff to respond orally at the meeting or in writing at a future time. A total of 20 minutes public comment per topic will be allowed unless the board decides otherwise. If you require translation services, please contact Renee at the district office 72 hours in advance by phone or email. And the meeting is videoed and broadcast on FBUSD YouTube channel. And then we also want to say to the viewers, virtual public disclosure, members of the public who wish to address the board during the board meeting are asked to please submit prior to the start of the meeting by emailing boardmeeting@fbusd.us. Staff will make all attempts to share and record any submissions received prior to or during the board meeting. However, depending on timing, late submissions may be provided to the board after the conclusion of the meeting. So I think that takes us to approval of the agenda. Do we have anything that needs to be, if we pulled anything, we would have to adjourn.
We'd have no agenda.
So I think that there probably is no changes. So are we all in favor of the agenda, or may I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, no objections, so moved. And so the first, we will have public comment on agenda items, and we will, how many do we have, Renee, for in-person? Because we'll start with.
Right now, I have 3 in-person public speaker slips.
Okay, so I think we have last count of online
19.
public comment, so that'll take us, if we just round up to 60 minutes to get through potentially the reading. I mean, that's not even really accurate because I don't know how long they are. Normally we allow, well, historically in this last 2 years we've read everything, but I think this is probably the biggest group of public comment that we've had. So we just need to talk as a board if we want to just go for it, and it may take 60 minutes or, cap public comment at 60 minutes. or reduce it down, time it for 2 minutes so that every person's getting kind of their flavor of their comment read so that we can get through all of them, because I don't want to get, spend time, although we only have 3 in person, so that's helpful, but,
I'm sorry, President Tapoya.
Yes.
We now have 4.
4, okay. So I just want to make sure we decide how we want to handle this so that everyone's voice is heard, and we don't just stop in the middle of someone's comment and they're not heard. But we have, I think we've been able to read all of the online public comment. So is there any discussion from the board on how you'd like to?
Well, I will say, when I read last night, there was only 2. So either
Yeah.
I didn't refresh my thing or, and I've been at
No, there was
work all
only
day.
4 this afternoon.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they've come in late, so I have not read them, I'm sorry.
Okay. So that tells us that we probably would need to read. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
That we should probably read them out loud and allow for, do we want to do 2 minutes? That gets us down to 40 minutes, or just an hour and hope to get through it? And time them by 3? I mean,
Some of them are long, some of them are not so
Some are
long.
really
There are
short.
some that are clearly going to take me more than 3 minutes to read, and I would
Okay.
say with those, you put a timer on and you're gonna get the
Gist
gist
of
and
it.
flavor
Mhm.
of the letter within the first 30 seconds. So I think just in honor of our community, the people who are here should go first because they made they are here.
Mhm.
And then I will read the public comments in order as they came in. And what we can do is we can limit this to 40 minutes and the
Assess,
ones,
yeah.
and I can look at the ones that are long. If they're more than like 500 words, then I will read and then we'll move it over to the document where the board can read it this evening, and then we'll put it into public record so that everyone can read the comments once they become part of public record and the meeting minutes.
Okay, so does anyone have any objection to that suggestion? We'll time it for 40, which I'll keep the time overall 40 on my phone, and then we will have, I don't know how you'll signal to Renee that we
Renee
need a
is going
3-minute.
to do the 3 minutes
Okay.
for the people in the audience.
Okay,
And then we'll move into the public comment
virtual.
from the email.
Okay, and make sure I read the disclosure before. Okay, so Renee, would you like to invite the public
I
to
don't
the
think-
podium?
I'm sorry, I don't think my microphone is on, but our first speaker is Kimberly Ramey.
So first off, I just want to say thank you guys for having us, and Becky, I have a ton of respect for you, and thank you guys all for letting us speak. This last year, I actually pulled my nephew out of the school district just because I saw the trajectory that we were on with COVID and everything else, sorry, and the masking. And for him, I actually got custody of him 6 years ago, and he went through a lot of trauma. And so for him, sitting in a classroom for 6 hours with a mask on would be very difficult for him to do. And so I just hope that you guys understand that some of these kids, they have issues that maybe you might not understand, and for them, like, just being in school is already tough enough. So I would hope that the board listens to these stories and what the parents have to say and what the kids are going through, and can receive that information and make an appropriate decision. The mask mandate, the vaccine mandate, all of it is a lot for us as parents, especially with the vaccine. It's only been out for a short period of time. We don't know what the long-term effects are, and we worry about our kids. So I just hope that you guys take that all into consideration. We love our kids a lot. And that's pretty much all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Terry Curdy.
Kurdi.
I'm sorry, excuse me, Curdy.
Hello. I am a parent of a Fort Bragg High School student, and I also coach Fort Bragg High School cheer. So I have watched these kids for the last, since we've been back, struggle a lot with wearing these masks. So I am definitely in favor of choice. It's a personal choice. And I feel that we should remove the masks and make it optional. I do strongly I watched these kids suffer in practice. When they did take off their masks for certain performances and whatnot, they forgot how to use an expression. There's so many things that we need to bring back for these kids. And it's been hard on everybody, I know. We all wear them all day long, I get it. But I think that this step really needs to happen. These kids, they need this. They need to see their teachers, they need to see their peers, and make it an optional choice. I mean, it's a personal choice. If you want to wear it, great. If you don't, don't. Everything's been out there for, the last year now. So I just feel that they need a break. So I'm in favor of removing the masks, and I hope that, we come to that conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Nancy Bennett.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. I just wanted to say I'm speaking on behalf of my entire family. I do have 2 kiddos enrolled at the Fort Bragg High School, and we are in full favor of moving towards a maskless school environment. So we're all in favor of seeing the school district lift the mask mandate as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kathy Westfall.
Good evening. Thank you, Board, for having us and allowing us to speak our hearts and our minds. There has been a lot of science and education behind the bacteria that is festered inside of the masks. I have athletes who wear masks during basketball, softball, soccer, and it's not healthy for them. It's hard to see them not able to breathe, to pull it off and breathe. I haven't heard of much that COVID has spread within the school from person to person. I have heard that it has spread in the families and the parties and the socializing that goes on outside of school. And it seems like school is the safest place for the teachers who are already vaccinated for the most part and for the kids. And I believe in choice for the kids. People say, my body, my choice. We are trying to be safe. We really care about each other. This whole town has cared. And I'm concerned that because it's been released to not wear masks anymore on the 11th, I'm concerned that Mendocino County will say, oh no, we're going to keep the masks. And that's not okay. Why is Mendocino County above the governor or above the rest of the states or Texas? My daughter's going to college outside of California because of how oppressed it's been for these kids. I have 4 kids. They're all in school. They're all athletes. And health-wise, it's just not good for them. And we respect you all. We respect other people's opinions. But we're asking and pleading with you to please. There's 80 kids that are ready to stop wearing masks, and I don't want that to financially affect you guys and the school and the county and the teachers, because I know financially it will affect you. And they're ready, and they're ready to stop, and I don't know if we can stop them. So I'm hoping we can all come together and agree to do it as a team, and that there's not fighting or arguing. There's just team play here for the sake of the kids. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our last speaker is Tatiana Buinovich. Buinovich.
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to be an extra voice, and I want to make sure that, just like other moms just speak about the mask, I want my kid to be free of mask, and I don't think it's healthy, and I believe they deserve to be seen, what the features on their faces, their expression, because I think it's good for them to see each other. And I'm a nurse. I've been working in healthcare for over 20 years. And I believe that masks are not super protective. It is in some percentage, but not 100%. And it damages them more than it brings any benefits to the kids. Especially with Omicron, it's a very not symptomatic and it's not that contagious. It is contagious, but it goes away as a regular cold. So it makes sense for us to remove the mask. Thank you.
Thank you. So do we have any others that would like to speak at the podium here in the room? Before we move on to the virtual reading, which we do have a disclosure. So I'll pause for a second if anyone's feeling one
Can it
last.
be a non-agenda item?
No, it has to
Has to
be
be agenda.
an agenda item.
So I thought.
Okay, so seeing none, I will read, before we read the public comment from the board meeting at FBUSD email, the following public comments were received by the district using the public comment email address. For ease of public participation, it will be read into the record by a district employee. This should not be construed as an endorsement of this comment by the district or as the position of the district. So Superintendent Walker, are you prepared to read all of them, or let us know if we can help?
Yes, I'm happy to read them. So just to let you know how I'm going to do this, I'm going to be reading it from the actual email account so that if something else comes in, we don't miss it.
Okay.
There is one person who submitted 3 comments. We are going to read 1 comment. So I'm going to start with the first one. And Renee, what I'll do is I'll tell you if we need the 3 minutes. For most of these, I don't think we do.
And just right before you start, we're at 30 minutes, so I think
Okay.
hopefully we make it.
So Anne Marie Cesario, this is from Anne Marie Cesario. Please end the mask mandate. Children need to breathe freely and see each other. It's time to stop all mandates and return to normal. Don't be afraid of freedom. The next comment is from Judy Vidaver, and I believe that we are going to need, I think we're going to need the 3 minutes on this. Please provide evidence that mask wearing protects anyone from infection or spreading COVID. Given that the science shows the risks outweigh the benefits, especially in children, mask mandates are a form of child abuse. Here is evidence that it does neither. And then she provides a link. This meta-analysis revealed the following risks. H, risks associated with face masks. Wearing masks for a prolonged period of time may not be harmless, as the following evidence shows. 1, the WHO, I would assume that's the World Health Organization, warns of various side effects such as difficulty breathing and skin rashes. An Israeli-Canadian study published in Cognitive Research in February 2022 found that face masks disrupt holistic processing and face perception in school-aged children. Tests conducted by the University Hospital of Leipzig in Germany have shown that face masks significantly reduce the resilience and performance of healthy adults. A German psychological study with about 1,000 participants found severe psychosocial consequences due to the introduction of mandatory face masks in Germany. The Hamburg Environmental Institute warned of the inhalation of chlorine compounds in polyester masks, as well as problems in connection with face mask disposal. The European Rapid Alert System, RAPEX, has already recalled over 100 masks models because they did not meet EU quality standards and could lead to serious risks. A study by the University of Münster in Germany found that on N95, parentheses FFP2 masks, SARS-CoV-2 may remain infectious for several days, thus increasing the risk of self-contamination. In China, several children who had to wear a mask during gym classes fainted and died. Autopsies found a sudden cardiac arrest as the probable cause of death. In the U.S., a car driver wearing an N95 FFP2 mask fainted and crashed due to CO2 intoxication. Also included, conclusion, face masks in the general population might be effective, at least in some circumstances, but there is currently little to no evidence supporting this proposition. If the coronavirus is primarily transmitted via indoor aerosols, face masks are unlikely to be protective. Thus, health authorities should not assume or suggest that face masks will reduce the rate of risk of infection. And more, 47 studies confirm ineffectiveness of masks for COVID, and 32 more confirm their negative health effects. And then she provides a link. That's 3 minutes. The
Thank you.
next comment is from Debbie Swigert. We don't need the timer. Please unmask our children. It's dehumanizing and affecting their development. No vaccines for them either. I stand for medical freedom. Use common sense. Seeing these kids and adults masked up just hurts my heart. From a Fort Bragg tax-paying resident. The next one is from Mark Swigart. To whom this may concern, unmask our children now. We stand for medical freedom. No mandatory vaccines. Unmask the teachers too. Thank you. Do the right thing, please. From a very concerned Fort Bragg taxpayer. The next one is from Whitney Marr. To FBU School Committee from Michael Marr. Your masking policy regarding your masking policy for students. You need to cease and desist on your mandatory mask requirement for students. If you choose to continue this heinous policy, rest assured we will be pursuing a means to remedy this via your liability insurance/bond mechanisms. Sincerely, Mike Marr, a concerned uncle of several students in your school system. The next public comment is from Michelle Anderson. Dear school board members, the last time I spoke to you, and always, I continue to remind you all to do the right thing, listening to the parents and the children who are asking for choices and not just one choice that is not a one-size-fit for all. Parents know what is best for their children. I ask you all to consider dropping the mask mandate immediately. If you fail to drop the mask mandate, as many schools in California have already dropped the mandate, then you all will be held accountable. Federal use authorization law requires a right to refuse EUA products, and experimental medical trials involving children require parental consent. If a school or agent of the school, such as a teacher, enforces mask wearing and it adversely impacts a child in any way, including but not limited to psychological damage, physical harm, impeding academic progress, then the school could be civilly liable by law. Schools are not even allowed to use physical restraint technique that obstructs a student's respiratory airway in the first place by law, which can be found in Cal Ed Code section 49005.8, section 3.2. You are continuing to violate this law. Sincerely, Michelle Anderson, mother of 4 children. The next one is from Katie Turner. Dear FBUSD board members and Superintendent Walker, I urge you to wait to lift the mask mandate in our school district. Wait until our county is in a lower tier of cases per 100,000. We are still in the purple tier. Or wait until next year when a higher percentage of our students are vaccinated. I know students can choose to mask still, but I worry about the students who choose to mask being picked on or bullied for that choice. Earlier in the year, I was told there would be no rule that vaccinated kids and teachers could unmask while unvaxxed would stay masked because of the stigma and bullying that might go along with that. I would say this is similar. Additionally, classes like band and choir come with quite a bit more risk, and without masks, that is a very high risk environment. California Department of Public Health still strongly recommends that people in schools continue to mask. Please wait. Many students cannot do independent study, and many are immune compromised or live with someone who is. Please help keep our community safe and keep requiring masks for all in our schools. There are 3 months left of the school year. Please just wait. Our students can understand the important lesson of doing something small like wearing a mask for the greater good of protecting others. Thank you, Katie Turner Carr. The next message, the next comment is from Christy Tangway. Dear board members, I hope you will consider the importance of safe COVID practices in our county and community, which is still an area with high rates of transmission, according to the CDC. We have various levels of vaccination status, young people in households and school who aren't yet eligible for vaccines, and we also have vulnerable members of all ages in our community that we need to protect, as well as staff and healthcare workers. For that reason, the Department of Public Health, quote, highly recommends masking indoors, end quote. No matter the decision, I hope you will also demand respect and equal treatment of all students who continue to wear a mask. The climate at the school right now is complete disarray, with teachers encouraging other students not to wear masks, even prior to any announcement from Governor Newsom regarding March 11th. Who is here to keep our students and faculty safe? if not our faculty and administration. Sincerely, Christy Tangway, parent. The next comment, hit the wrong button, is from Gina Balassi. Dear board members, I am writing this letter to show my continued support around masking in our school district. We have seen success with masking, and there is science that has shown that masks greatly reduce our chances of getting COVID. Our own county health officer extended indoor masking to help our local hospitals in hopes that our numbers continue to go down. Our county continues to show a high level of community spread, which is represented as the color orange on the CDC website. This level of spread shows that we should be masking indoors. I understand there will be a choice involved if the mask mandate is lifted. However, I think this is creating an unhealthy divide that has grown into outright ugliness. I would like all of you to think of everyone involved, from students, staff, and families to our greater community. We have experienced such a divide over the past 2 years, like I mentioned before, that has directly damaged how we look and treat our fellow members of society. You hold a seat on a board that represents all students, all staff, and all families of this community. Holding this seat means that you must look and weigh the severity of making a decision that can greatly affect our FBUSD community. I want my child to feel safe at school. This is something that we talk about most days. My child has shared way too often that feeling safe at high school in the classroom is rare. This should be an alarm in itself. I hope no matter the decision made tonight, all teachers will be ready to stop any and all forms of disrespect and bullying that will be directed towards those who choose to follow the highly recommended masking for indoors made by the CDC. There needs to be a plan put in place that promotes unity. This is something that seems to be lacking, not only from students. Please look into this and create a safe space for students. Once again, please extend the indoor mask mandate with our classrooms. Thank you for taking the time to read my letter. Best, Gina Balassi. The next comment is from Katie Nall. Hello. Just wanted to say how effective the masking has been at schools. So when people say, oh, masks don't work, I want to scream at them. Look at our schools. No school spread. It has been a long and difficult time, and I thank all of you for all you have done and for keeping our kids safe in the best way you could given the circumstances. I trust you to make the right decision once again, so you have my full support in whatever you decide. Thank you, Katie Nall. The next comment is from Mary Iverson. Dear distinguished board members, thank you for your service on the FBUSD School Board. Your time is appreciated. As a parent of 2 and a teacher, I'd like to express my feelings toward mask choice. I'd like to respectfully request that you strongly consider following California guidelines and give our Fort Bragg families the choice to mask or not at school. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Mary Iverson. The next comment is from Tara Larson. Hello, distinguished board members. As a teacher and a parent at Fort Bragg High School, I would like to ask the board to follow the state's recommendation for mask choice. It is time for our students to breathe freely, see each other, speak, and be heard. They have worn masks long enough. The mask should be a choice, and it is time for us to quit dictating whether or not someone needs to wear a mask. Sincerely, Tara Larson. The next comment is from Chantal O'Neill. Dear school board members, I fully support lifting the mask mandate for all children indoors and out. Please consider letting the mask come off as soon as possible. Thank you, Chantal O'Neill. The next comment is from Tina Rose. Dear Board of Trustees and Superintendent Walker, Monday, March 14, 2022 will be the first day of the 3rd year of this pandemic. This is also the first day that children will have a choice whether they can mask or not. What a perfect way to begin year 3 with an opportunity to provide a sense of pre-pandemic normal. Our students have had a rough go of their education for the last 2 years, and we owe it to them to get back to normal when given the opportunity. Masks were never meant to be forever. The opportunity to choose will allow those that want to mask the ability to continue, those that are ready to unmask the ability to do so. The children are the healthiest populace. The rest of the community and majority of the state will be unmasking. There is no public health reason to keep the students masked. Please follow the recommendations of CDPH and vote to allow mask choice in Fort Bragg Unified School District. Sincerely, Tina Rose. The next comment, sorry, my fingers are long. Okay. The next comment is from Heather Franco. Dear Board of Trustees, I want to express our wholehearted support of lifting the school indoor mask mandate per Governor Newsom's new guidelines. Our child will appreciate being able to breathe freely, especially during PE. Thank you, Heather Franco. The next comment is from Mary Pardini. Hello, FBUSD board members. I would like to first thank all of you for doing your best at navigating through the last 2 years during the pandemic. I can only imagine how difficult it has been to do what's best for the entire school district. As a parent of 2 FBHS students, I would like to school board to follow governor's mandate on March 11th to no longer require students to wear masks. We are 2 years into this pandemic, and it is time we allow our children to breathe. Also, being the mother to a 3-year-old, our younger children are missing out on a whole world of learning through seeing people's faces, seeing their emotions, and learning how to relate and be compassionate. My fear is that our younger generation will have longer lasting effects of this extended time of being required to wear masks. The rationale of our local health officer seems invalid at this point, as more populated areas in our state have already followed the unmasking of students. Why should rural Mendocino County be any different? On the morning of Monday, March 14th, my daughters will walk into school without masks and be able to see smiling faces on their instructors and classmates. Mary Pardini. The next comment is from Eric Dumars. I am the father of 2 students at Redwood Elementary School. Please discontinue the requirement that they wear masks. I agree with these doctors and research scientists who have made findings that the sacrifices young children must make by wearing masks are great, and yet the masking rules offer no significant benefit. Thank you. Eric A. Dumars, father of 2 children. The next comment is from Anne Marie Weibel, who submitted 3 comments and a PDF letter. So let's see. I'm not sure how to do this. Let me read her. Let me read her email. To Becky Walker, Superintendent, FBUSD, and board members, I am a former paraprofessional who taught at FBUSD for 5 years, former substitute teacher for 16 years, and former summer school teacher, special ed, for 5 years. On 11/15/2021, I submitted public comments for your non-agenda items of the 11/18 board meeting to you. My concerns related to schools offering COVID vaccinations for children ages 5 to 11 and a possible future mandate. I understand that you will have a school board's emergency meeting on masking mandate today. As I am unable to attend tonight's meeting, I am contributing my comments per email, see attached, and asking you to submit my comments to all school board members and read it aloud as well. Thank you very much, Anne Marie Weibel. And her comment it includes, as far as the federal government is concerned, masks are only mandated now by airlines and public transportation. Governor Newsom came up with the mandate update on 2/28/22. Federal health officials who reported that nearly half of Californians live high-risk counties for COVID-19 were relying on data. Only a small number of counties now fall into that category, according to local officials, according to this article. The CDC's estimate appeared to be outdated by more than a month. She gives a link. As far as I know, Ukiah Unified will no longer require masks. Neither will Anderson Valley Unified School District. Many schools will no longer require masks. She gives another link. I'm asking you to create a resolution or use the sample resolution below, which would make mask wearing optional. I realize this does not limit anyone from wearing a mask. This is about mask choice. Enough is enough. Legal tools to end hypocrisy of mask mandates. And then she gives a sample resolution. And I would say that that's probably at the 3-minute limit. Did we time it? We did not. Okay.
That was.
Okay. The next comment is from Susan Nella. Dear FBUSD board members, like the state of California and Dr. Corrin, I agree with the impending status change in regards to Mendocino County schools and masking as strongly recommended. Since Mendocino County was late, in quotes, to the Omicron surge, it makes sense our schools should be later to entirely remove masks. A few months ago, the Bay Area was experiencing a fierce Omicron surge while Mendocino County was experiencing a somewhat moderate but consistent case rate. Our county has recently surged, peaked, and is now experiencing a downward case trend. However, we are not in the clear yet. The Mendocino County case rate, as reported by Public Health on 3/2/22, was 19.06%. The average case rate for the entire state of California is about 2 to 4%, definitely much lower than our current rate. Also, most Bay Area school districts have student body vaccination rates around 80%. Consequently, these facts lead to the biggest question facing our school district. What is the vaccination rate for Mendocino County schools? Thanks to the excellent FBUSD COVID-19 protocols our district has adopted, the actual case numbers of Mendocino students have been low when compared to our community transmission rates. We know these protocols and masking have worked. Since our school COVID stats are based on students and staff wearing masks, we don't know what our case numbers will look like without masks. I am hopeful our FBUSD board will support the safest decision for our vulnerable children and staff, which is to continue to require mask wearing until we can better predict a safe outcome. Sincerely, Susan Nella. And the next one is, the last one that I have right now is from Michaela Miller. The mask mandate needs to be lifted. Everyone should have the freedom to choose. Enough is enough. Kids are not getting seriously ill from COVID, and it's not their job to protect adults. Thank you for your time. And that concludes public comment.
Okay. So no others to read. Okay. So the one item on our special meeting this evening is 2.1, California Masking Mandate Update by Governor Newsom, which will be presented by Superintendent Walker.
So you have in the board packet, and let me pull it up. Sorry, I've got my tab on the public comment. You have what the governor released on the 28th, and what he is suggesting is that we remove the masking mandate for students effective the end of the day on March 11th. So for us, end of the day, March 11th would mean that if you followed his proposal, then beginning of school on March 14th, which is Monday, that masking would be optional for students. At the time this was originally released, we did not have the order for adults. So information has been trickling in. So first off, what we found out from Cal OSHA today is that they will be provide a ruling by March 11th on what that is going to look like for adults. However, there was something sent out from OSHA today that referred to the CDPH guidance for all workers. So without a formal ruling from OSHA, but from the statement that they want us to follow CDPH, what I am dissecting from all of this is that their recommendation is that the masking become choice also for the adults in the school system. One of the things that Trustee Schneider asked me was, where are we with the CDC numbers in relation to transmission rates? And right now, CDC did update their infographic of the country today, and Mendocino still remains in the high category. With this current trend, I will tell you that personally, I have watched our district go through COVID up and down. You have before you a question. Do we follow along with what the governor is asking us to do, or do we provide more stringent guidelines? In August, you memorialized in our board meeting that you wanted to follow the CDPH guidance, and you had actually given me authority to follow the CDPH guidance. So some people have said, Becky, why are we having this meeting today? They gave you the authority, then why are we here? We're here because if I didn't, okay, if we didn't give people a chance to talk, anybody remember August 18th, the board doing that? Just show of hands. Seeing none. Okay, that was my concern, which is why we're having this meeting today. I wanted to make sure that you as a board, if you changed your mind, you had the ability to do that. If you didn't change your mind, you have the ability to do that. What's difficult with this is that I want to agree with a letter from one of our public comments that some of this has turned downright ugly. I am worried about what we've taught our children about civility. I'm worried what our children have learned through social media from being home so long. I'm worried about how people are interacting with each other. I want to thank everybody in this room and online who are watching, the people who have been kind to us, the people who have given us grace. And I'm going to cry. It's been hard. It's been really hard sitting here. And it's been really hard watching people that I've raised my kids with. It's been really hard watching people who I've loved and respected turn ugly. It's been hard watching the example that adults are doing in front of their children. And we need to come back to a place where we can remind each other that our bodies have the potential to be equipped for viruses. I have not been sick in 2 years. It is the longest stretch I've gone in my entire existence. I'm concerned about my first cold. Not for getting sick. Trust me, I'm not worried about getting sick. But I think my body's going to go into shock, to be quite honest with you. I'm telling you all this because I know that people are fearful. I know that people are nervous about this. I am more concerned with, I'm being very honest with you, I am more concerned at this point with not making masks optional. I have to believe that we have all the mitigating tools in our power to keep COVID away from the most vulnerable. If folks need to wear a mask, then we as a school system, beginning with the board, need to encourage everyone to protect anyone who is wearing a mask. That there is a reason that they have it, whether it's their parents' choice or their choice. But we go back to the word choice. My recommendation to you is that we follow the CDPH guidance, that we allow people to make the choice, that we allow our schools to get back to some level of normalcy. I will tell you that at some point, we need to allow our bodies to practice immunity aerobics, and if we're not ready for that, then please wear your mask. Yes. And I'm concerned right now with what we're doing in our school district. What has been so uniquely wonderful about Fort Bragg is that we are a tight-knit community. And because people have grown up together in their 4th and 5th generations and they've graduated, and I'm looking at the beautiful sea of faces in the room, and I see a bunch of former students and a bunch of Fort Bragg High graduates, we are a close-knit group. And so when it becomes this ugly over an issue, you as a board have to take action on where you want our district to go. I understand that folks are nervous. I truly believe we have all the tools in place for folks to keep themselves safe. So my recommendation to you is that we follow the CDPH guidance. And those folks who are disappointed with the decision, with my recommendation, that is my recommendation. You get to vote however you want to vote. To those folks who are disappointed with my recommendation, my deepest and sincerest apologies. I am not sitting here trying to make a decision that's best for Becky Walker or for my son. I'm sitting here making a decision for the 1,668 students who attend Fort Bragg Unified and the over almost 300 employees who work with us. At this point, I will tell you, very honestly, I am tired of watching our teachers be the mask police. I'm tired of our administrators getting beaten up by parents over masking. And I am tired of people who believe they have the right to tell me that I have the choice to go against CDPH. I'm being very honest with you. I know that our community is hurting. I know that we've lost people. I have friends right now in the hospital with this. I know that this is hard. I also know that we have to get back to a place where we can start being some kind of a normally human. And that's my recommendation to you. Do you have questions for me?
Before I open it up to the board, can you clarify where our county health officer?
Okay, good question. So I talked to Michelle Hutchins today, who is our county superintendent of schools. If you go to the COVID-19 website on the Mendocino County webpage, you're going to see two things. You're going to see the health orders and you're going to see schools. The schools are separate from the health orders. So if Dr. Corrin says, I'm giving a health order, and the health order is masking goes for indoors until March 15th, schools are not regulated by that health order. He has removed schools from the health order effective January, I want to say January 6th, when we started feeling Omicron, because he wanted the schools to follow the CDPH guidance. So schools now have their own tab in the Mendocino County COVID-19 page that is separated from the health orders. And that's why I called Michelle Hutchins today to make sure that I was giving you this appropriate information. So for instance, this is going to sound, I won't give an adjective. This is going to sound a little bizarre, wrong adjective. However, if Dr. Corrin says that indoor masking for Mendocino County is to hold until March 15th, CDPH is saying that on March 14th, schools can be optional on masking. Because he has schools in a category outside of the health order, he is not going to go against the school CDPH order. That's what I am told. Now, could he wake up tomorrow and do something different? Of course he can. But this is what I'm told right now. I spoke to Michelle Hutchins at 4:30 this afternoon to make sure that I had the most recent information to give you as a board.
Okay, so I will open it up to the board for, actually, I think, well, we've done all the public comment. Everyone's spoken and no one else came in through the door. Just want to make sure everyone has an opportunity. So now I'll open it up for clarifying questions from the board to
Is Becky
Becky?
checking for more
I'm
emails?
checking again. Nope, no more.
No more.
Okay.
I'd be curious, what are other schools in the county doing? Or do you know? Like you
I met with the superintendents last week, and at the time, we didn't have the information. So this information came out on Monday. And I attended the Association for the Association for California School Administrators. I'm getting all my acronyms mixed up. I apologize. So ACSA, the Association for California School Administrators, is the group that I belong to get information right from kind of the horse's mouth. They have a government relations team, and so we received the information on Monday prior to the release so that we knew what to expect. So my understanding is that the majority, and you can't quote me on this, but I believe that the majority of Mendocino public schools are more than likely going to uphold the governor's recommendation. Have they all met yet? No. Are we doing it early? Yes. We're doing it early because I wanted to make sure that everybody had time to plan. I didn't like the idea of this building up for 2 weeks, and then our March 10th meeting putting you on the spot, and then folks having anxiety about the 14th. If the 14th is going to worry folks and you vote to approve the governor's recommendation, then it gives our families time to plan. Are they going to, are they not going to? It gives us time as an educational community to talk to our staff and really make sure that we are having conversations in the classroom about why we would mask, why we would not mask, and that it's choice. That we would still provide masks in all of our classrooms, we would still have the PPE available for all of our teachers, all of our staff, all of our kiddos. So I feel it's important for us as a district to have this conversation earlier than later. So I don't know exactly what everybody's going to do. If I had to guess, Jerry, I would say that the majority are going to go with the governor's recommendation.
And I just will add to, it's not a question, but I do know Ukiah has stated that they will not be more stringent than CDPH. They did publicly say that. UConn Unified.
And so what happens if Dr. Corin pops up and changes his mind and puts schools back? When did he take the schools out? That was just,
That was in January. And I have to tell you, I learned that today because I wanted some assurances that what's going to happen here. I didn't want to ask you to take a vote that he could subsequently take away from you. And so that's why we were told last week when the county superintendents met, I was at that meeting, that Dr. Corin had told Michelle Hutchins, our county superintendent, that he was not going to go against CDPH. It still makes us nervous because
right.
we know that the masking order that's in our county, we're one of 3 counties that had a more stringent order. And we understand that. His reasoning from that is because of our hospital rates and our
Right.
beds that are available. So with that, I checked in again today to make sure, okay, how do we know? Can I give you 100% assurance? No, I can't give you 100% assurance on anything. I can only tell you what Superintendent Hutchins told me, and you can go to the website and see that there are 2 separate areas. I have to say that if I were to place a concerted bet, I would say that he is not going to go against CDPH guidance.
Right.
That's what I would say.
But if the question is then, if he
What
does,
if?
What if?
Well, if he what ifs it and we can't do it, then we can't do it.
Okay.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
You as a board are stuck between a rock and a hard place. We are going to have to trust that he is not going to.
Mhm.
And then if he does, I will tell everybody in here, direct all your hate mail, not to us. Okay? So we can only do what we can do. But you have to decide,
Right.
do you want to be more stringent? Do you want to follow CDPH guidance? That's your call. I can only give you my recommendation, and then I promise you that regardless of what your decision is, I, as your superintendent, will support you 100%, even if I don't like it. Because that's my job. Duly noted one more time. I get to support these people.
Okay, well, I know that it's long been known, I've been a proponent of masking, so I did want to go on record as saying that I do believe we've come to that time that we need to stop requiring it. I mean, I think the people that want to keep wearing them, and I may still, should be able to. I have a lot of reasons for that, one of which is my husband got COVID, and he's vax boosted and wears a good mask and is rarely around people for any time at all, and he still got it last month. So I don't know how much good these do with Omicron. And secondly, we weren't able to read this very, very long letter in here, but it's a father presented it, but it was signed by 5 UCSF doctors, which these are nationally respected physicians.
You
I
know what,
mean,
Mary? I apologize if I didn't read that.
Well, it was by that same guy, Eric Dumar.
Right, he submitted 3.
So
But-
so it was long,
Okay.
Becky, you couldn't have read it all, because
But
it was,
Jeannie
it was
Noble,
3 pages,
Jeannie Noble's quoted,
yeah.
who we've
Okay.
quoted before.
So just to let everybody know, we will take that letter and make sure that it's published in our board minutes so that you could see it in public comment. The gist, it's long. The gist of this letter is to,
It might be worth reading.
Well,
No, it's long.
yeah, unfortunately, we kind of closed.
so how about
yeah.
can I read one paragraph?
You
Sure.
can paraphrase.
Sure.
Okay, we are writing to you today as public health and medical professionals and as California residents. Since this pandemic began, we have been living under the most restricted COVID-19 policies in the country. For those of us in the Bay Area, we continue to navigate the most restrictive policies in the state. These restrictions persist despite California's high vaccination rate and low COVID-19 hospitalization rates. California's COVID policies have failed to evolve. With the advent of highly protective and widely accessible vaccines, our restrictive policies that have caused considerable collateral damage through the pandemic have long lost their justification as necessary for prevention of serious illness and death. These pervasive policies continue to negatively affect our professional and personal lives without clear benefit nor an end in sight. And then they go through the policies.
And it's pretty clear, and they're all, I mean, I'd highly encourage you all to read it. It's worth reading. And I just feel like I'm shocked I'm saying this, honestly. I just feel like it's where we're at. 2 years has been a really long haul for everyone, and I feel for everyone, both sides. I'll be just crass. It sucks. It sucked really bad. So it's time. Yeah. So I just wanted to put that out there because I know everybody would assume that I'd be like, no.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. Do we have a comment?
I think I was just, last night I was trying to be ready for this meeting, and so I went to the Mendocino County website. It's not updated since February 11th. Anyway, I wanted Corin to say something before we met, but that wasn't gonna happen, because I feel like we have been way more restrictive than most of the states, so why is he not gonna do that with this? But maybe we're in a place where he feels like we're gonna move forward. But, so I wanted more information before we met, but we are meeting next week. But I support going with what the recommendation is too. I just am a little skeptical that he's not gonna come in and do something else, but
In Dr.
then
Corn,
that will overrule us anyway, so.
well, and in Dr. Corn's defense, I wouldn't want his job. And I will say, you know, he doesn't wake up in the morning and say, what can I do to mess with people?
Right.
He's really looking out for the health and welfare of the community, and that's a difficult thing to do. So I really do believe that he's not going to go against CDPH on this. I'm telling you very honestly. And if I'm wrong, I'll buy all of you some dinner. I don't know what to say.
So do we have other board comments, questions?
I'm good.
Jerry's, you're fine?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm on board.
Trustee Snyder?
I mean, my comment's just what it was back in August. It's not our job to make health decisions. It's the CDPH's job. And it's not our job to go against what those recommendations are. So I still feel the same way I felt back in August, and we follow their guidance when it comes to this sort of stuff.
And my comment is, we've been waiting very patiently because I do watch and have been listening to, you know, constant information for the last 2 years. And there have been schools in different states that have been unmasked for a year. And I've been following other areas, I mean, Idaho, Wyoming, of course, Texas, but I'll pull those out because they've been unmasked for a year, because maybe we wouldn't have been comfortable with that a year ago. Washington, Oregon, and I even called a couple of districts and asked, you know, some of them actually unmasked in November, you know, before the holidays, which is kind of crazy. They've been masked up and they never looked back. They got through all the variants and through Omicron, never looked back. So we've got some that have gone a year, 7 months, 3 months. We've had some that I personally have called out of state and out of area. So we're kind of living in a silo here. And we're not testing the waters by unmasking. There's a lot of good research, and any narrative that you have as a person, you'll find it. So I feel like this decision is very easy because we aren't a medical board and we didn't go against CDPH, and we're not going rogue. We're following and we're waiting patiently. So there's no reason in my mind that we wouldn't say that, you know, staff and guests and students could unmask if it was okay with Cal OSHA, and if it's okay with the county health officer, and if it's okay with CDPH. I'm not going to make an emotional decision about the sky falling, because it hasn't fallen out yet. So if something needs to be adjusted, I'm sure CDPH is going to notify us, and we'll very easily be able to adjust, but we'll wait for that. And we'll be listening, and that's my comment.
And my recommendation with this, when we call for a vote, is I also want to talk about the testing, that we're still going to have testing available. We're still going to have it available at all of our sites. We'll still have it available at the district office. The question has been asked of me multiple times, and Terry, you're in the room. What about the athletes?
Hold up. I totally understand where you're going with that, but I don't think that testing is on. I mean, this is talking about.
Well, I'm just telling you what I'm doing. You don't get to vote on what I'm doing with
no,
testing.
but
Sorry.
But but the agenda is for masking, so
Okay, I gotcha.
it's not about the district protocols.
Okay,
So
we'll talk about that on the 10th.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Terry, you can
I
talk
don't.
to me at the end, and I'll tell you.
Unless I'm wrong. Anyone
Nope.
else think that should proceed? Conversation, because I don't think Newsom's made any
I
testing.
apologize. I
Or did he?
apologize for being out of
Okay,
order.
no worry. I'm just trying to keep us focused here, because we do have a special meeting. So any other
I did want to
questions?
say one thing
Mary?
about the parents that were concerned about bullying, and I would just hope that, I think for the most part, this community, we treat each other with good grace and are caring, but maybe a reminder to your kids that it's still a choice. So just be kind.
And I would also like to remind people that there is a varying level of comfort when it comes to COVID for personal reasons, whether it's you live with someone who is immunocompromised, or whether it's you live with someone who has an issue with breathing. I want to just remind everybody that we have to get back to a place where we respect people's personal choices. From my personal choice to wear pearls, to my personal choice to wear a mask. And as much as we can, it is incumbent upon us as moms, dads, parents, community members to be the example for our children. And then to help teach our children the civility that we should all be learning from this experience.
Absolutely.
So I think I'd just like to restate the motion made in August that we, as a district, direct staff to follow CDPH guidelines.
Okay, and so do we have a second?
I'll second, and also wanted to publicly, before we go forward, we all thank Becky so much for guiding us through these last 2 years that have been so rough. So thank you.
And
Yes.
so to restate, the motion is to follow CDPH guidance. And I'll pause on that before the vote. I'm also concerned, and I guess we could deal with it next week, but my understanding, and it's from Ed source, I don't know if that's a good source, but that the board and the county health officer and, well, actually, and Cal OSHA for staff have to approve that. So if that needs to be added to this motion, that if it's approved by Cal OSHA for staff and for students, if the county health
It
officer.
looks like that it is.
CDPH, so I
but
want to make
don't-
sure that's in our motion as well.
Should
I don't know if
Say
there's a
per
specific
approval.
ruling, so I don't know if you want to amend your motion, Scott, and include Cal OSHA with that.
Or more about the students and staff.
Well, I think following Cal OSHA is a.
I don't think we have a
it's-
choice
I mean,
on
we
that.
do that
Yeah, anyway,
with everything
okay.
that we do.
Just
is
want to be clear that we're not
included.
just saying, I mean, I think they'll follow suit, so I think that probably will cover it with the CDPH. Okay,
Yeah.
just want to, sorry for the pause. Okay. Roll call, please.
Trustee Schneider,
Yes.
trustee Mattson,
Yes.
trustee Paoli,
Yes.
trustee Makla,
Yes.
trustee Babcock.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
About time.
Okay, so may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
A second?
Thank you all for coming.
Second.
Thank you all for coming. This
thank
is
you.
the best attendance we've had all year.
7:00